Please welcome to the stage the Director of Faith Engagement for the Republican National Committee, Mr. Chad Connelly.
Thank y'all. Thanks for sticking around. Aren't y'all fired up about the great talent pool we have to choose from for the Republican nominee this year? I'm honored to be here. I really appreciate following all these great speakers and also Chairman Reince Priebus. I work for him, by the way. I'm the former state party chairman in South Carolina, and I'm one of those guys who ran for state party chairman during the 2012 election, the year before that. And I ran as a Christian who was a conservative who happened to be a Republican. And I'm proud to be a Republican because it's the party that stands for core values and truth. But I'm also one of those guys that was pretty upset that we left out the faith whole component during 2012. We made too many assumptions. I had raised my own money because South Carolina is a little bit like Oklahoma. We're pretty red with a little bit of red on the side. And so I didn't have to worry about winning the state, but my donors wanted to win in other states. So I raised money. We sent volunteers. In fact, about 1,400 South Carolina Republicans went to 8 battleground states. I had really good intel, and I knew we weren't going to do very well. So I go to see Chairman Priebus in December of that year, and I was just wanting to fuss, how do we lose to this guy that's the worst train wreck of a disaster of any president in American history? It's the truth. And I started looking at the numbers, and I started researching just the faith vote, because I'm one of those people that believes our message works. We ought to carry our message everywhere because conservatism works. Liberalism doesn't work. It just sounds good, and that touchy-feely thing sounds good. Conservatism works, and we ought to carry the message to everybody, leave no stone unturned, but like Reince says, we ought to run up the score where we do really well. So in 2004, the faith vote, the evangelical vote, was 23% of the entire vote, and they called us an imposing force. In 2012, it was 26% of the total vote, although 6 million of us voted for a guy who doesn't even agree with their basic core values. But 26% of the vote in the media called us a diminishing influence. Isn't that amazing? But this past year in 2014, in the senatorial elections, fully 86% of the people who call themselves conservative Christians, that's Christian, that's Catholic, that's evangelical, that's whatever your definition is, and that's why you hear it being a little bit cloudy because there's a lot of definitions, but 86% of weekly churchgoers voted for the Republican Party. Isn't that amazing? 52% of all Republican votes came from the conservative Christian category. 32% of all votes cast in November and December came from the conservative Christian category. So I tell people everywhere, not only can you not ignore the faith vote, you cannot win without it. So I thought Reince, he said we're going to do something about this. He actually offered me to create a position. No party's ever done this. Candidates, campaigns have done it. He offered me in April. I was running for re-election as state party chairman there in South Carolina. I turned him down because I didn't want to live in D.C. I have a wife and 4 kids, and I told him the job's in the States. I thought he'd make me an advisory role and kind of check a box, but Reince was serious. He called me back after my re-election. He said, look, I've been praying about it. You're one of those guys, you love the Lord, you understand the political process. I want you to do this. I want you to do it nationwide. My wife and I prayed about it. I started in July 1st, 2013. Since then, I've been in 36 states. I've spoken to somewhere over 40,000 pastors, priests, faith leaders, rabbis, you name it, just trying to get them to turn out the faith vote. You know, I don't have to tell them to vote Republican. We got 86%. You know, we're not the party that, no party's perfect, by the way. Jesus isn't running, and if you and I were running, we'd be in conflict with ourselves tomorrow, right? So we don't find perfect. But this isn't the party who booed God out of their convention, y'all. This isn't the party that's totally thrown out every faith component ideal that we hold dear here in America. So I'm proud to be a Republican. I'm really proud to fulfill a role that Reince Priebus gave me a chance to do for the first time ever. I cannot do it alone. I don't even pretend to. And I got to tell you, I'd rather be with my wife and kids, but I believe the country's in dire straits. We need everybody out this time, and we need to vote in biblical values. We need pastors and priests and faith leaders, Sunday school teachers like me, talking to people about those issues because people don't connect the dots. Y'all understand that? They have a real problem just understanding the times. If we turned out our vote and voted in bigger numbers, George Barna said there's about 89 million of us, and somewhere around 26 to 28 million vote, but some 40 to 50 million evangelicals don't even turn out. Now, I know the media loves to mock us and marginalize and push us to the side, and they've done pretty good at telling us, you Christians are great at evangelism and missions, and man, our kids love the vacation Bible school, but you shouldn't be involved in politics or government because that might offend somebody. And we back up and we don't want to offend nobody. We're very good at our turn the other cheek Jesus. I believe the times dictate that we find our turn the tables over Jesus. I tell pastors, just run a voter registration operation in your church. Register 100% of the people in the pews, and then teach them to go vote those biblical values that connect the dots. You know what? They're going to vote for the most conservative candidate most of the time. I also tell pastors that I don't believe voter registration is political. I don't believe voting is political. Don't let them talk you into this area of life where God doesn't live. My God's a big G God. That means he's there all the time, 365, all the way around, 360 degrees, 24/7, or just stay in bed on Sundays and Wednesdays. It matters. And see, I believe voting is a spiritual witness and testimony of our belief system to the community. We need more of our folks out voting. I'm proud to be in the party I'm in. I'm proud to serve for Chairman Reince Priebus. I'm doing a breakout over here in room 18 at this break. I hope you'll come join me. We'll talk about it. How can you get your pastor to run a voter registration drive? How can you make sure they register 100% of the people in the pews and make sure they go vote those conservative biblical values at the polls every single time? 40 to 50 million. It is the biggest voting block in the entire electorate, bar none. It's bigger than many, many other voting blocks combined. I hope y'all join me because ultimately we have to win this time. We cannot have another secular progressive liberal like another Obama or Hillary run our nation. Please don't let it happen. Get your pastors, get your friends, get your family to make sure they're registered and go vote in 2016 so we can take our nation back. God bless you. Hope to see you in room 18.
Ladies and